No. If you're thinking about what happened yesterday and what that might mean, are you present? No. Presence is the answer to everything. And it's challenging, and it takes a commitment, but I've got a tool for you. This is a tool that is guaranteed to get you present in absolutely any situation. Anytime, no matter what's going on, it will get you present. The challenge is, can you stay there? Here's the secret. Ask yourself this question: am I present? Because when you ask yourself that question, as soon as you ask it, you got present. No matter what the answer is, even if the answer is no, you had to get present to answer no. So as you go through your day, use that secret sauce, that tool. Am I present? And start to look how things change in every part of your life. How you show up in your company, in your business, in your career, in your relationships. It will all transform. And I'll tell you this, when you get present, that thing called stress in your life will disappear. I live a virtually stress-free life. Without drugs, without alcohol. I enjoy my wine, but I don't need it. Think about that. And you go, well, yeah, you can say that. I would challenge you. If you want to challenge me, I'll say, reach out to anybody you can find that knows me and ask them if you've seen Jeff stressed in the last 2 years. You'll have a hard time finding a single soul. So they say, no, that's crazy. He never gets stressed. No matter what's going on, he doesn't get stressed. Because I'm present. And I give myself and everyone I'm with the gift of presence. It's an incredible gift. It's one we can give. It costs us nothing, except we've got to let go of ourselves and make it about the other person. It's the ultimate selfless act. And it's a gift that we'll give forever. And it might be, as someone said this morning, it might be the gift that needs to be given right then. To really hear and see someone. So lesson 6, this is kind of one of my fun ones. So I want to tell you a quick story. So from where I started to Santiago, the Camino is well marked, incredibly well marked. Maybe once or twice I remember saying, oh, there's the marker. Markers everywhere. From Santiago to the ocean, they called it the end of the world, the Atlantic Ocean, and this town is called Finisterre or Fistera. It's pretty well marked. It's pretty well marked. And if you go from Finisterre to Muxia, decently marked. And if you go from Santiago to Muxia, pretty decently marked. However, from Muxia to Finisterre, it is not marked well. How do I know that? Because that's the way I went. I had not planned to go that way, but one of those times when I had nowhere to stay, I chose the shorter route, which means going the other way. And that morning, my last morning on the Camino, I walked from Muxia to Finisterre, and I walked from 8 o'clock until 12:30, 4.5 hours, and I was only on the Camino for 15 minutes. Well, the world would say I was lost. But see, what I would tell you is, the thing I learned about lost is that lost is a choice. I never felt lost. All I knew is I was in northern Spain. I was somewhere near the Camino, and I knew I needed to go south. And so I just walked, and I came to intersections, and I just used my intuition. I guessed. And at one point, I said, I got to get off the road. I want to get on a trail. So I got on a trail, and then the trail left me at this spot. Can you see that this used to be a trail? Do you see this is not a trail now? That was my option, though. Either go backwards or walk down this. So I started, by the way, what you can't see there is that whole thing is filled with rose bushes. So I'm in shorts, and I got my sticks. I'm beating this stuff off. I mean, this is the adventure now. I am in the adventure. Now, I don't know if you can see. I must not have been able to see that day, or I didn't look. Down at the end of the row where it looks like this ends, yeah, it did. It literally ended. So you see this field over here? I just started cutting across the field because I am not going backwards. That was one of my commitments. I am not walking. I'm not going to turn around. So I just started cutting across fields. I'm just walking. I felt like I wanted a movie of this. Like these people are going, what's this guy doing walking through our fields? And I was walking through the field, and I found a path, and I said, I'm going to take this one, and I walked, and I said, I'm going to take the next left. I took the next left. I said, I'm going to take the next left. I took the next left, and there was a marker. And it was raining, and I had found the Camino, and I started dancing. I was out there going, I found it, I found it. And people said, Jeff, you were so happy you weren't lost anymore. I said, no, I wasn't lost. I was just on an adventure. I was excited because it was like this 8-year-old in me said, you just found the Camino. You were wandering around and you found this. So one of the other things I found on the Camino, which I offer to you, is I found my little boy. And every one of you has a little boy and a little girl in you. And most of them have been turned off. You became a professional. Turn them back on. If you want to find your whole other level, you're going to need your little boy or your little girl to get there, because they're the ones that have the imagination. They're the ones that are thinking it's cool. They're the ones that want to go out and play. They're the ones that don't want to work. They want to play in their life. What if you could actually play while you work? And no one else has to participate because it's on the inside. Now, the piece here about stuck is it also struck me that I hear people say all the time, I feel stuck. I feel stuck in my job. I feel stuck with this decision. I feel stuck in my relationship. I feel stuck. I feel stuck. I said, no one's stuck. Do you know what? No one's actually stuck. But here's what we are. We don't have a clear answer with no risk. That's what stuck is. I don't know how this is going to turn out, so I feel stuck. So I'm going to tell you today, there is no stuck. If you're feeling stuck, you're not. You're just not ready for whatever reason to take the risk. And maybe you can go back and look at it and say, what really is the risk? And what can I maybe get out of this? And am I willing to take that risk to get something I really want? Nobody's stuck. They're just unsure. And we're all unsure. So let's look at number 7. This is a very emotional one for me. There's this, I also learned in the movie, sometimes the movies are not like real life. Did you know that? Because I watched the movie, and there's this really cool part in the movie where you can take a rock with you on the Camino, and it's about letting go of something you've been holding on to, whether it's a person, a relationship, a feeling, a regret, a forgiveness, whatever it is. It's something you're carrying around. So you take this rock, and I have this rock with me, and I had 2 friends who said, will you take a rock for me? I said, absolutely. And what is, there's this place on the Camino where there's this giant pile of rocks with a cross. They call it the Iron Cross. And you leave your rocks there, so it's a metaphoric way of leaving this behind. One problem. On my second day, I met this guy named Rudy from Germany. I said, I'm really excited to get to the cross because the cross in the movie's at the end. He said, Jeff. That's how he talked. Jeff, Rudy called me the biggest man on the Camino. Apparently he thought I was a giant. He said, Jeff, the Iron Cross was 3 days ago, before you started. What? I said, in the movie, it said there. He goes, the movie's terrible. It's all wrong. You missed it. Then it hit me. Well, I don't have the cross. I don't have this pile of stones, but I got the Atlantic Ocean that they call the end of the world. What better place to leave something? So the next morning, I got up with that clarity that my rocks were going to go to the Atlantic Ocean. As I was walking down, even before I got on the path, I woke up with the time difference, and I had a text from my brother. And the text told me that my uncle had passed away. My mom's brother, the first of the siblings to go. And we knew he was sick, but we didn't know. We didn't know if it was days, weeks, months. And I was incredibly sad. And for a moment I said, well, I have to go home. I said, no, I'm right where I'm supposed to be. But I was walking down the path and really thinking about my uncle, and these 2 stones literally spoke to me. Any of you ever had a stone speak to you? You're willing to admit it? There you go. Thank you for it. I know others of you did. You're not willing to admit it. Bring it on. You're walking down the road, you go, oh, I'm supposed to have these. So I picked up these 2 stones, and what I realized was I hiked with them all day, and that night I said, what are these stones for? Then I realized it was about letting go, but they weren't mine. The clearer one, the more white one, was for my cousin David, my uncle's son who'd been caring for his dad and the family for about 2 years. And I thought about the mantle he's been carrying, the family responsibility. So I said, this is for David letting go of all this responsibility he's been carrying. The other one that has the dark spots in, I realized that was for my mom. And I realized that my mom, I knew it already, but it was about grief. My mom has carried grief throughout her life. 37 years ago, my younger brother was killed. My mother has lived with that grief for 37 years. Her marriage had ended. She had the grief of the loss of that marriage. And now her brother, her best friend, had died. I said, so much grief. This is about mom. This is about letting go of grief. And the dark spots represented the grief. So I took those 2 stones and I went to the Atlantic Ocean and I threw them all in. But for every person that had asked me to do a stone, I did a little video to explain it. And I did one for my cousin and for my mom. And when I came home, I showed my mom that video. And I talked to her about putting down the grief. I share that with you because one of the lessons is it's time to let go. Every one of you is carrying something that's not serving you. It could be a belief about yourself. It could be a belief about the world. It could be what some of us call a regret. It could be something that we believe we created. It could be some form of shame. It could be some person in our life. In order to find your whole other level, you're going to have to let go. Because if you envision going to this whole other level, we always want to focus on how do I get there, but there's something holding us back. And for many of you, it's a belief you have about yourself. That not enough story. Not lovable enough, not smart enough, not good looking enough, not wealthy enough. Every one of us carries a not enough story, just some of us carry it with more awareness. The more aware we are, the more we can let it go. So think about, what is it time for you to let go of? And lesson 8 is an invitation to claim your space and ask for what you want. Because one thing I've learned about life is you're not going to get anything you don't ask for. And we're all afraid to ask because we're waiting for us to be given to us. Claim your space. I had a close friend a year ago. We got together over cocktails, and he was starting a new business, and he said, Jeff, you've been doing this a while. What's your number one piece of advice? This is the question. What's the one piece of advice you give me? I hadn't thought about it before. I'd never been asked that directly. Here was the answer. Be bold. I said, be bold. Be bold right in the beginning. Don't wait until you think you're ready to be bold. Be bold right now. Look around what's going on in your life. Look around your career, your job, your business, your relationship, your family, whatever it is. It could be big or small, but be bold and claim your space and ask for what you want. Here's a guarantee. You're going to annoy some people. There are going to be some people that are going to go, and who do you think you are? Who do you think you are? And you don't have to answer that question. All you have to do is ask for what you want. You may not get it, but I can be pretty guaranteed you're not going to get it until you ask for it. I go into companies now, and they say, we want our people to stand up, and I go, I don't think you're ready. They go, what do you mean? I said, well, I got your people ready. They're going to be asking for some stuff. I've told them all to claim their space and be bold. They go, we love it. I go, I don't think you do. We're going to see how this goes. Because you want them to be a little bolder. I'm telling them to be bold, to be big, to go for it.